Hi guys, I'm back with another video. A great way to start a introduction, right? Clearing my throat. So this video is going to be games from a user called Sparkasm, and he says he's 900 rated on chess.com, just got back into chess. He says it might be a real laugh going over one of his games, probably see a lot of rookie errors, which could be informative to others. Okay, so let's take a look here. So this is on chess.com. Whoops, I'm on the wrong screen here. This is from a previous game. I know why I'm on the wrong screen. I'm basically, just bear with me, and I'm going to load up one of his games. I'm just going to, and then I'll import it into Lichess. So I just find it a little bit cleaner to see on video. How come it's showing in this format? Oh, I see. Those are current games. Okay, so let me just choose a game here. I want to find a game that is a little bit longer. This one looks like it might be fine. This is a 5-minute game. Yeah, so he's playing a lot of 5-5. So Sparkasm, I would recommend that you play longer time controls. 5-5 is not too bad. 5-minute, 5-second increment. I would still recommend something a little bit, a little bit slower. I have a little bit of a cough here, so bear with me. Okay, let me load up this game and I'll import it. I'll just be 3 seconds here. Okay, now let me just import this into Lichess. Okay, here we go. Okay, so our hero here is White Sparkasm, 662. That is chess.com rating, so maybe close to 1,000 on Lichess, so pretty low. But let's get going here. We will keep the engine off. Okay, so this is the elephant gambit. When black plays e5 followed by d5. Generally, it's better to take the pawn, from what I've found. The d pawn. This is usually the best way. Although knight takes is still good too. But basically, this is better for white. The elephant gambit. You just have to play solid and play a little bit carefully. I mean, as you would in most gambits when black gives up a pawn. So I'm not sure why white did not take the pawn, but he is lower rated, so I'll just go over it. There is a taking this pawn is. I mean, well, I guess you could say technically. I mean, this is the real gambit when black is giving up this pawn, but taking the pawn here is generally the best way forward. If black recaptures with the queen, you're getting a lot of free development of your minor pieces. So, for example, if you take here and if black recaptures, knight c3 is pretty good. You have 2 pieces developed. You're attacking his queen. His queen has to move again, and then you can make another move. So you're getting some good development there. You could take here, but it gets pretty sharp. But taking the gambit is fine too. It looks like the main line is bishop d6, and then d4 is the way forward. So it's really up to you. You could take the pawn if you want, but it is a little bit more sharp. This is a little kind of simplifies things a little bit more, and you get some development. I prefer to take this pawn, but you should make one of those moves. Any other move is not really as strong, so I would recommend either of these 2 moves. C3 is not as strong. In fact, it's pretty bad because you're just losing a pawn here, and an important pawn at that. So you need to slow down here. You really should not be blundering on move 3. So I would rather you lose on time than you lose on the board, so feel free to spend more time to think about this, because your pawn is attacked and it's not defended, so you should not be dropping it with like c3. And so you give a check. Okay. And you, okay, so I guess, yeah, you can be captured here. I didn't even notice that myself. So, so good job on that. But I still don't really like this as much. It's not terrible for white here. If I were to guess the evaluation here, with the engine, I would say it's pretty equal. I would say it's pretty equal. White might even be up slightly, like plus 0.2 or something. Let's take a look. So, well, no, it's minus 0.2, but yeah, it's pretty equal here. So there's a tiny edge for black, and at this point in the game, this like white should never really be. It should never be an equalized position, like a move 5, because white gets to move first. So, so why is it equal? Well, white's queen is not really that great in the center of the board. It can easily get attacked, and then white basically loses a tempo here, meaning that white has to move again, going to have to move the queen again to dodge all of these incoming attacks that will be coming in. Even something like this. This would make more sense so that he doesn't drop the pawn. And white is going to have to move again, waste a tempo, while black gets free development moves. So black is definitely not any worse here. So black plays f6, dropping this pawn. Probably the best move here would have been simply to play bishop c6. And unfortunately, white missed it as well. So again, I would really recommend longer time controls so that you don't miss moves like this. Like, you should just not be missing free pawns like that. Not that many excuses for that. Inexperience is an excuse, but at the same time, if you had a lot more time to think, that shouldn't really be an excuse. You should be able to see that. So again, I would recommend longer time controls, but that's okay. So you play d4. Maybe black noticed it now. And you take again. I would probably recommend just developing one of your minor pieces here. Just because you can take a piece doesn't mean you have to or that you should. You actually have this nice pin set up. So black actually can't retake you if with the pawn. So you can actually leave this and leave the tension. That's a hard thing to do for new players, to just leave the tension. It's just such a natural instinct for a lot of beginner players to just take. But I think it might just be better to just develop a minor piece and go ahead and castle, get some king safety. So where would I play if this was me? I'm not sure, because I'm talking, I'm not really thinking. I don't know, maybe something like bishop c4, developing the bishop. Maybe even bishop d3 or even bishop e2 is a possibility. I think I would like to develop the light squared bishop and castle. That'd probably be the way I would proceed. Otherwise, maybe bishop e3 and try or knight bd2 so that we can go ahead and castle queenside. But my idea here is that I want a castle. And let's see what Stockfish says, if it agrees with me. Yeah, same thing. So it's liking bishop c4. It actually says that taking the pawn is not a bad move, but it's certainly not necessary. It's also suggesting d5, which I did not consider. A very interesting move, kind of an advanced move. But bishop c4 is actually the best move here, bouncing between the best move. But taking here is not bad, but I would still recommend developing your minor pieces to get into that habit. Okay, turn that off. Yeah, so black has beaten you to the punch of castling. Black is looking fairly decent here, and you're still 2 moves away from being able to castle. So I think white is okay here, but this looks really dangerous now. You know, if recaptures and then black plays rook here, your king is still in the center of the board. There's skewers that can occur. So I'm really starting to get nervous about white's king not having access to being castled here. Okay, so finally you castle. I feel much better now. However, this square is now attacked 4 times by black. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it is only defended 3 times by white. 1, 2, 3. So black could simply just capture here. And if we turn on the engine, yeah, we can see that black has equalized here after f takes e5. I am happy that you castled, but you can kind of see some of the buildup of your previous choices that have kind of culminated in this issue of this square. Again, black has equalized. When you took here, which technically was fine, but it's a build. It's when you took here previously, you created an issue of having to control this square, and some of your following moves did not follow that line of thinking. I don't think you did anything really wrong here, but I'm just trying to say that it's kind of a game plan. So when you took here before, you have to really think long term of what your plan is here, and you're going to need to be working on controlling this square. So black played g5, kind of interesting. It's an interesting move for sure. Interesting. Doesn't look bad. The problem about it may be though that when black takes here later, like if you move here and then black takes, this pawn is weaker. But then again, black does have this bishop opening. So I don't know. G5 looks interesting. I'm curious what Stockfish says about G5. Yeah, G5 is the second best move here, but F takes is still better because taking away your center square, your center pawn. H5, yeah. H4 seems reasonable. Yeah, it's hard because your queen doesn't really have many great places to move. My instinct though is like this is kind of an awkward move because like your queen will never be able to sit there for a long period of time. Like black could just always kick you out fairly easily, although in this position maybe not as easily as I would think. The rook can't go here because the knight would be undefended. I just think that the white queen is not going to really be able to stick around long. Maybe even simply bishop g7, black can play. Bishop g7 and then threatening rook h6. So this is a kind of a free developing move. The thing about this queen move is what is it actually improving in white's position? Even if white can stick around here for a move or two, what is it actually doing for white? How is it improving his position? Yeah, I don't really see how it is. I don't see a follow-up plan here. Black just simply has too many pieces here for white to be able to do anything cute. That's just my line of thinking. Where else? Where would be a better square? I'm not so sure. It's hard to say because, yeah, there's not really a lot of great squares for white. But I think going deep into the enemy base is not really a correct step forward. I don't know. Yeah, I'm really not sure a great square to go back to. Maybe possibly going to c2. Because then you're still controlling the square a little bit. Let's see what Stockfish says. actually says queen. It actually says queen f5. Queen f5 check, which I did consider, but I abandoned it after this bishop move. Then it's saying queen, then queen c2. Yeah. So I guess this bishop move is not really good for black, I guess, because the bishop is kind of on a less important square. The bishop is better where it is right now on this diagonal. So yeah, second best move is queen c2. So it's the same idea. So queen here, if king goes back, and then it's opening up. Then it's suggesting knight c4 or bishop c4. Okay, and let's see what it thinks of this move here. Yeah, it hates it. It's saying the best move for black here would be bishop h6. Yeah. So basically, this queen move that really doesn't do anything. Let me turn off the engine. It's kind of what I thought. A move like queen g6, while it may, on the surface, it may seem that white's queen is getting more active and kind of maybe starting to do some annoyances to black. It's really not, by itself, it's not going to do anything against 5 pieces, 5 black pieces together. There's just way too much synergy there between those pieces against one queen. And white's other pieces are too far away to really help in any type of shenanigans here. So really all this does is kind of essentially to give black a free move. Basically, it almost loses a full tempo in a sense, you know. And then when you look at this, you know, black has improved his bishop. Now his bishop is active. He's also closer to connecting his rooks, and it's white's turn now, and his queen is still kind of in a dangerous spot. So again, yeah, I mean, maybe just like queen c2. So you could argue that like queen c2 and then bishop h6. You could argue something like that, but I think the queen on c2 here has a bit more options. I mean, we're controlling a longer diagonal. We could also go to b3 at some point. We can also like maybe develop our bishop to d3. I just think when you're on this square, you're just going to you're going to be kicked out eventually. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling on here, but it's just my line of thinking. So he does go here, but that's the very first thing I looked at, but it simply just hangs a knight. Hopefully you saw that. Okay, you did. Good. Rook e1. I mean, I like the idea that you are setting up the rook, aligning it with the enemy queen. The only thing is, I'm not sure if that is, maybe it's best, but I'm not sure if it's almost like a little too late, because black has, you know, 3 pieces defending the pawn. And if you go here, you've got 2 pieces. So you're still a fair ways off of really doing any damage there. But so I'm not sure what I would like here. I'm thinking still you might want to develop your bishop and then move in your other rook. Although there are these discoveries that you have to worry about, you know, and then the bishop coming in. So if you were to move the bishop, you have to be concerned about this type of move. Yeah, not sure. Maybe attacking his rook might be an idea with bishop f4. Although we might just be feeding feeding the cannon here. It's I don't know, it's still interesting. And then you could improve your bishop further, maybe with bishop g5 after that, attacking the queen. Just some ideas there. Just thinking of alternate ideas to rook e1. Overall, though, this looks like an awkward position. for white, even though white is up a piece. Yeah, I would really like to activate these pieces though. Yeah, I don't know. Bishop c4 just seems like a natural move to consider. Let's see what Stockfish thinks. Yeah, so bishop c4 is tied, kind of tied with the top move. It's also saying queen g5. So queen over here. I guess it's offering a trade. You are up material, so it's always good to, well, it's usually good to trade down when you're up material just to simplify things. It's also attacking his rook and getting your queen in a much more active location. You're controlling a lot more squares here, a lot more area. So I kind of like that queen move. You know, if he takes, you're taking with tempo, so he has to move his rook. You can easily defend this pawn. You're up a whole minor piece. So I like queen g5. But yeah, it is recommending my bishop c4 move as an alternative move. So just simple development of your pieces. The queen, the rook e1, it just seems like a little too late for this. The square is already super defended. And it just makes more sense. If you want to put a rook here, why not put this rook there? It's not doing anything in the corner. So I like the development of the light squared bishop. Okay, moving on. Let me turn off the engine. Queen c4. Yeah, I don't hate it. Queen's in a pretty centralized location. So he does, yeah, okay. Yeah, this is hard because your bishop still has not developed. You're on move 18, and you got a major piece and a minor piece that have not even moved yet, and it's starting to really take its toll. You're up a whole minor piece here, but it doesn't seem like it, and that's because they're not even in play. You got two pieces not even in play. Black has all of his pieces in play, and that shows you the power of positioning, right? You're up a whole minor piece, but you're actually. It looks even. It looks even on board, right? So what would I do here? I don't know. I might try to even finagle the bishop out. Try to smuggle him out somehow. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard here. Lacking the development of these pieces, it's hard to find a good move for white. I don't know. Yeah, sneaking, developing somehow in this capacity. It's really, yeah. Let's see what Stockfish says. I'm curious. I know I've been referring to Stockfish a lot, but it's good to confirm the moves. It's saying bishop f4. Probably, I guess it wants to lock in. Put the bishop on e3 is probably the idea to help blockade this pawn advance. So it's just saying knight b3. I briefly considered it, trying something like this, but yeah, I guess that trade would be good since we are a lot material. But I mean, it is plus 4.5, but it just doesn't feel like it in this position. So I actually really like bishop f4 for white. And yeah, so okay, let's go back without the engine. So you played rook e3, which is a good idea, stopping the advance of this pawn, basically blockading it. I looked at this very briefly, but I think like it loses to simply bishop h6. I don't know what your plan is here. You're going to have to move it back, so you just lose a tempo here. And Black's dark squared bishop is on a really good square here, so. When you make a move, you have to look ahead and think what your opponent would move here. You can't just like see the position and just say, okay, I will go here. I will stop the pawn. You have to look forward. You always got to look ahead. Okay, so what's the best move? How could my opponent respond if I played rook here? And then you may be able to see a move like here and then see that refutes your rook e6 move, rook e3 move. So looks like Black did play it. Yeah, I don't know. This is tough. This is tough. White has really dug himself a hole here. And yeah, and just drops the rook for nothing. Yeah, I don't know. This looks pretty terrible for white. I don't think there's really too much that can be done here. If I were to guess the evaluation at this point in the game, I don't know. Maybe minus 5 is my guess. Oh, minus 10. Yeah, minus 10. Okay, yeah. So we'll kind of speed through this a little bit because it's pretty lost here for white. I don't think there's not really that much that can effectively be done here. Wow. So how did this happen? Wow. So yeah, black just dropped his queen completely. It's kind of funny though because white dropped his queen first, but black didn't take. So major mistakes on both ends here. Maybe they were getting into time trouble. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what to come from this game? I'm trying to remember. Was this a 5-minute game? I think it was. I can't remember. Let me take a brief look. Yeah, this was a 5-minute game. This was a 5-and-5 game. So play longer time controls is my first recommendation. Let me get back to it. The Elephant Gambit, you might want to look into this opening a little bit so you know what to do against it in the future. Again, I would recommend E takes, but knight takes is fine as well if you want to accept the Gambit. Anything else is not nearly as good. And then the other thing to consider is I would really focus on development of your minor pieces that really hurt you later on in the game. And it's just something that you should really be practicing earlier on. I'm just going to put the engine on here. So Stockfish says that, taking is certainly fine, but you should have at least considered bishop c4, developing your minor pieces, or bishop e2, even bishop e3 or something. Yeah, again, developing, you do develop your other bishop, but I'm not sure. Like, are you really planning to castle queenside here? It's going to take you a little while to do so. Whereas you could simply castle in 2 moves kingside. You do help defend this square, so I can kind of understand it why you would do that, but so I don't hate the move is what I'm trying to say. You do castle here. And you play h4, which I think you don't want your bishop to be trapped. Although I'm thinking simply h3 is probably better. h4 allows g5. So I think that's why I don't really like h4 here. Oh, sorry, I mean it allows g4. Yeah, so simply h3 would be better because it at the same time it opens up the square for your bishop while not allowing g4 to be as strong. And I spoke about this queen move a lot. It's not a huge blunder, but I just feel like it's such a, like, you basically lose a tempo here because you're not going to really do anything with the queen here. So it's not really doing anything there. You're just going to have to move it back. You got lucky here because black screwed up, but don't take that luckiness as confirmation that that queen move was a good move. This rook e1 move again, I thought it's a little too late to be doing any type of pressure on this piece. I think it would be better to straight up just develop right away, like bishop c4. Turns out this queen move is even better, but again, just simple development of your light squared bishop. You want to be developing your pieces, okay? You got to really think about that a lot. Again, this, if you had thought a little bit longer here, you would see that this refutes that move. And again, with this again, you could be developing other pieces. So bishop e2, like going this route, or you gotta yeah. I would even just play bishop e2 here. Yeah, because you can't be letting your pieces drop. Maybe even just moving the rook back and then bishop e2. It's tough. Yeah. Yeah, you might have to sack the exchange here to get some development. Yeah, that's not so bad. You do have the, because black dropped his knight here, so you are actually up material, so you can sack, you can afford to sack the exchange here. And I think it might be worth it just to get some pieces developed. And here it's just really hard for white to do anything. Okay, anyways, I hope that helped in some capacity. If anyone is interested in getting their game reviewed by me, you can just simply send me a message. Yeah, thank you.